So I want to give you this demonstration of how you trace this object. The object is very involved. There's a lot of work to it. So what I did was I did a bit of the work already, so you don't have to sit and watch me try to do this whole thing, which would take an eternity to do. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to continue to build this tracing object, which is what, if you take a look, I'm going to hide the background layer. There it is. There's the tracing object. So you're using this background object, which was the imported illustration that you're going to trace. I brought it in, I put it on a layer, and I locked it. And as I demoed the other night when I was doing the robots, used the window menu and the transparency palette, and I made the opacity for this background layer 30%. So I won't go through all that. You've seen me do it already. But what I will do is I will show you how to finish tracing this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually trace from here up to here, and then I'll explain how I'm tracing it. And it is essentially the same way that I trace the entire object that you see here. So it should give you enough that you can get a sense of how you go about doing this. So I'm going to click on the pen tool, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to start at the bottom. And now this line is already partially built, so what I need to do is I need to come over top of the anchor point. You won't be doing it this way. You'll probably do it in one continuous trace, but it will really be the same thing. I'm going to come over and I'm going to click on to attach my anchor point to this line. Didn't look like I got it because it didn't highlight. There, I got it because you can see all the lines come up. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to here and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag and I'm going to make that line segment. Now I've got my first line segment. I'm going to build the rest of this. What I want to do is I want to change, this is actually a curved point. What I want to do is I want to change it to a corner point. How I do that is I hold my icon over top of the point that I just made. Notice that the little icon comes up that shows me that it's a convert anchor point. See it? And I'm going to click, and it's going to retract that Bezier curved handle, and I am then going to move up the side here, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag out a line that will sort of follow that curve. Notice again my control handles come out because I've dragged a curved point. So what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to come over to point, and you'll notice when I do this, there's that little convert anchor point symbol that pops up, and that means I'm in the right place, and I'm going to click, and the control handle retracts. Now I'm ready to place my next point. So I'm going to move over to here, click, and I'm going to drag, and I'm going to place my point on the line the way I want it. Again, the control arms will come out. And what I'm going to do is repeat the step of coming over and clicking on that point to retract the handle. That will enable me to control the direction of this curve. So when I click and I drag, I can lay that curve right down along that line beautifully. You'll see once again the control handles come out. I'm going to come back over that point, and I'm not doing anything other than just clicking on that point to retract that handle. Now watch, when I move over to here, I'm going to click and I'm going to drag, and I'm going to be able to place that line very well on that curve. And again, I get the control handles. So what I do is I come over and I click to bring them in. And now I come to my next point. You have to decide how far you can go to get a nice line. I could probably come all the way over to here. I'm going to try it and see whether I'm successful with this or not. So I'm going to click and I'm going to lay this down. Notice that when I do this, I'm going to let go. Notice that I go off a little bit over here. So maybe I went a little too far. I'll go Control Z and I'll bring it back into here, and I'll try a shorter reach. I'll come over to here, and this way I can kind of bring that line in a little bit and make it fit a little bit better. Then I come over and I click, retract it. I come up to here, I click, and I lay the line down, and then I retract the handle, and I missed the point. Control Z. I'm going to come back and I'm going to bring the handle in. I'm going to move a little bit over to here, and I'm going to lay the line down along the tracing object. Once again, I'm going to click. Now I'm going to come to where I'm going to close this object. See, I'm right at the end. I'm right up to the point where I'm going to close it. When I roll over that point, take a look what happens. See the little circular icon at the bottom of my pen? Okay, that's telling me that when I click there, I'm going to close that object, which is exactly what I did. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to lay that line down on that tracing object, and there you go. I've completely traced this object. That's all there is to it. Give it a try.